Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining my technology presentation today. Just if somebody can tell me if they can see my screen on the chat and if you could hear me.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Murillo. First of all, I'm going to start with creating Nearpods using PowerPoint. Now, this presentation, it's a little bit more in the intermediate level. So if at any point you have a question, you feel confused, go ahead and type it out in the chat, or you can go ahead and just turn on your mic and go ahead and ask me and stop me right there. I'm going to try to go as slow as possible, and I will be going in from switching screens just so I could show you exactly what I do. For me, PowerPoint works much better than Google Slides. So I work on PowerPoint. I create all my slides on PowerPoint and then I transfer them over. So that's where I'm going to show you exactly what I do. So again, any questions, go ahead and turn on your mic. Go ahead and feel free to ask me or write it on the chat, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Okay, so again, we're going to begin. We're going to be using Microsoft PowerPoint. On PowerPoint, we're going to be creating our slides using cute fonts and backgrounds. You know, it's easier for us to, or at least in my perspective, it's easier to use PowerPoint where I can add cute fonts. And then we're going to transfer everything to Google Slides where we will be adding it as a background. And the reason why we add it as a background is that way when we assign it to the kids are not messing with it. So a lot of the kids, tend to start moving the screens, moving the little emojis. And what happens is that it throws everybody off. So the reason why we upload it as a background is that way we avoid all that conflict, and you'll see in a little bit. And then from there, of course, we add our extensions, which are a Nearpod. So now I'm going to go, I believe there's 4 steps. My first step is create a cover slide on PowerPoint. Now, this is an example of my lessons. I'm a second grade teacher at Berta Palacios Elementary. I'm a bilingual teacher. So what I do is I create slides for the entire week and I create them using PowerPoint. So what do? I add a background. Of course, I add my title and my author. Something that I've been doing already since this past year is you just add the sustainability goals. So that way you can always make sure that you refer to it and you make that connection that we're supposed to be making globally. For example, I put the cover of the story of the week. In this case, it was introducing landforms. I put my objective and I put my language objective. I also like to put, for example, here at the bottom, it says Monday and it has the tick. It's verifying that you see my screen. And the genre. So every week I create this. And what I'm going to tell you right now is you're going to do a master copy of it and I will show you in a little bit. And then every week, all you're doing is, well, every 2 weeks, what you're doing is you're changing the title, you're changing your objectives, you change the activities, but the format stays the same. And the reason I do that is as second grade students, in the beginning, it becomes a little bit, harder for the kids to understand what to do. But as the weeks go by, if you keep the same structure, the kids know exactly what to do and know that every Tuesday we have a vocabulary game, we have a time to climb, and we have all those nice activities. So again, I do this on PowerPoint, and then I'm going to show you exactly what I do. So now this is PowerPoint. What you can do here, obviously, we add text boxes. I have fonts installed already. Again, I add the picture to it, boxes where I show my objectives, the genre, and then I color code everything by days. This is Monday, Tuesday. Again, I would like to provide a word bank. Again, the genre, the sustainability goal. So everything is created on PowerPoint. If you see here, this is just a presentation. Media piece, essential question. How do you think the rocks on shore got their shapes? And the reason why these boxes are here is because later when we go and we do this on slides, you'll be able to add the extension here and you'll be able to do the write or draw, I believe it's called. And then the kids will be able to type their responses here. I create anchor charts for example, this tick was about details and key ideas. And then again, this is Monday. I introduce a vocabulary. And I know in the beginning it might seem a little bit overwhelming, but I promise you that if you create this template and you use it every single week the same way, all you're doing is changing the story, changing the text, changing the background. It becomes very easy for the kids to follow along. So again, all this is created on PowerPoint. I add images, I add the text. You might, think it looks really nice. Again, it's just playing with fonts. So you see here. Now, the very important thing is that after every day, if you notice, this is still Monday. This is part of the lesson on Monday, but this is the exit ticket. So I label everything, for example, here at the top. It has exit ticket. Which type of landform is most interesting to you and why? Why we want our kids to be able to write. Make sure we enforce for the use of writing incomplete sentences. Again, I provide word banks. So guess what happens? For the following week, when we change story, all I have to do is worry about changing the title, changing a question that goes with the story, adjusting the teak, the genre, and modifying the word bank. But again, this is very repetitive. Tuesday, I always try to keep this one, the cover sheet for all of them, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And again, I have activities, vocabulary game. This is where we play a match game. Again, you'll be able to see everything in a little bit, but I wanted to show you this because everything is created through PowerPoint. So all this is created on PowerPoint. So for example, for this week, I have 26 slides. So what do you do now? I personally have a Mac. If you have a school computer, then you're gonna do the snapshot, I believe it's called snippet, where you're gonna be able to take a screenshot. So then once all your screens are your slides are created, then you're gonna create screenshots. So for example, on Mac is Shift Command 4, and you're gonna snip it, and you're gonna take a picture of it. And the reason I do this is because now I'm gonna show you. So first you do everything on PowerPoint, and I'm gonna go back to the screen. Now, step 2, I'm gonna leave it like this just because I'm gonna be moving from screens. Is create activity slides on PowerPoint. This is where I just showed you. Things to include are DOK questions, academic vocabulary, our exit tickets, which are very important, any interactive activities, and field trips. Students love field trips. Again, here I put activities will change every week according to the TEAC, but the slide layout will remain the same. Now we're on step 3. Now we're going to transfer to Google Slides. So here I have these steps. We're going to screenshot all slides on PowerPoint, which is something that I just did right now. I did one. We're going to open Google Slides, File, New, Presentation, and we're going to insert the screenshot images as backgrounds. And remember, this is pretty much to prevent students from moving the slides. And this is awesome because, again, the kids love exploring, and the least that we want to do is for them to move a slide and mess with all the slides, all the rest of the slides. So now here, this is pretty much on Google Slides. So again, everything was created on PowerPoint, everything. So now what we do here, of course, this is a file, new presentation. I delete the title, the subtitle, and here where it says background, I'm going to click on it. I choose the image, and I'm going to choose that image that I took a screenshot, which was this one. So I open. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me. And done. So again, it's like transferring everything from PowerPoint. We're going to transfer it to Google Slides because this is where we will be adding the Nearpod. Of course, here you enter and you add the next slide. I'm only going to do this for a few of them so you're able to see the extension. So for example, here, let's pretend I would have already taken all the screenshots. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do a few just so you could see. Okay, so on slide 2, again, I click background, choose image, and I'm going to choose slide 2. And I believe this is it. So you're going to transfer all those 26 screenshots, you're going to transfer them to Google Slides. Now, if your question is, well, why couldn't you do them on Google Slides since the beginning? Well, for two reasons. One, Google Slides, in my opinion, doesn't have cute fonts that I think they're going to attract the kids' vision. And second of all, remember, you create them on Google Slides and you just start doing them, the kids are going to be able to move things around. And that's obviously something that we don't want them to do. So doing it on PowerPoint and taking screenshots, uploading as a background will avoid all that interruption. Now this slide says vocabulary, and you'll see why in a little bit. So again, you just keep doing this. If this was your week, and you're going to be adding all the screenshots. For time purposes, I'm only going to do 4. And you'll see in a little bit, and I'll be able to show you the Nearpod. So let's pretend we were done. You already have the 26 slides. You put them as background. So no matter what, the kid's not going to be able to move anything. How you're taking the screenshots, can you repeat it, please? Yes, I am using a Mac, an Apple. So all I have to do is Shift Command 4. I'm not sure why it took me out. I'm doing Shift Command 4. On the Dell, I believe it's snip and shot. So I think you right click, and there's like a snip a screenshot option. I'm sorry. A snip and screenshot option where you'll be able to take a screenshot of the whole screen. Good morning. Oh, sorry, I'm using 2 devices to be able to read the chat. So I believe, but I can get back to you for sure on the Dell, but I believe it's a screenshot. Thank you. Right click screenshot or snip and snip, and you will just do the snipping of that slide. So again, let's pretend that all the 26 slides are already inserted on the Google Slides. Again, you do this, that way they don't move anything. The kid will be able to play with it without moving. So now what you do is we're gonna be adding the extensions to Nearpod. Now, I'll be very honest, 2 years ago, I got into Nearpod and it's the best thing. All the activities are there for you. All you have to do is add them. And of course, snip and sketch for Dell, and it has an icon of scissors. Thank you so much, Ms. Ortiz. So again, for Dell, you'll be able to do that. For Mac, you do Shift Command 4. So now here, we're going to be adding extensions. You're going to be adding extensions on the slides that you want the student to do something. For example, you don't want the student to do anything here. Why? Because this is where you're going to be, well, good morning, boys and girls. Today we will be reading the story of the week, which is introducing landforms. The author is blah, blah, blah. The objective today we will evaluate. Okay, so this is all teacher-led. This slide, you would talk to the kids, what the objective, what the genre, anything you want to talk about that day, the sustainability goal, make the connections. This is what you do. On the next screen, you obviously want the student to write, because the essential question says the author wrote this selection may lead to. So now what we're going to do, you're going to go to extensions and you're going to click on Nearpod. I believe all the computers are ready. Since we have Nearpod, we're able to go straight to Nearpod, and you're going to click open Nearpod. And what's going to happen is Nearpod's going to open right here on the side. So now, this is Nearpod. This is where, okay, what do you want the child to do in this slide? Well, we obviously want them to write. If it was something about dragging and dropping, we will click this option. If we wanted to insert a video, we're able to do it here. If we wanted a field trip, and you see in a little bit, there's so many options: matching pairs, flip grid, memory test. So for example, in this one, I just want to convert to draw it, because that will allow, once we assign it on Google Classroom, this will allow the child to be able to type on it. So all I have to do is put convert to draw it, or you can click here where it says draw it. So this is what's going to happen when you click on it. It says converting, and you're going to realize that it's going to duplicate the same slide, but it's going to have that Nearpod. There you go. So now you have slide 1, all right? You have the second one, And now the third one has that extension. You cannot delete it. That's the way it's going to look. And that's the way the kids are going to do it. Why? Because it allows you to introduce it. For example, boys and girls, now we're going to be talking about the essential question. The author wrote the selection mainly to, you talk about it, you discuss, you let some students participate, and then you change the slide. And that way in their Chromebooks, that's where it's going to say, now it's your turn, and they'll be able to type their answer here. They'll be able to type and submit. So that's the option of draw it. Then vocabulary. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint slides. There it is. So then the first month, on Monday, the way I do it is I introduce vocabulary. These are the vocabulary, the academic vocabulary words of the week. You go over all the definitions. You can refer back to them on what page of the book are they found, all that stuff. On Tuesday, what I do is I do a vocabulary game. So now I'm going to go back to Google Slides so I could show you. So here in this one that says vocabulary, I do want to add an extension. And every Tuesday, I do the same thing. Why? To engage students, and I allow them to use the book. I allow them to talk to their partner. Because remember, we want the students to be able to practice their vocabulary. So what I want them to do here, I want them to do matching pairs. And what they're going to be doing is they're going to be looking for that vocabulary word and that definition. So when you click it here, it's going to give you this slide. So all you're going to do is you're going to add a pair. What you want to do is you want to add those vocabulary words. Again, I'm going to go back and forth so you're able to see. So you want to put coast, the land along the sea. So you're going to write here, coast, the land along the sea. Why? Because when the students find the word coast, the only way that it's going to mark it right is when they choose the land along the sea. And you add another pair because you already have one pair. And you're going to do that for the 5 of them. So plains, flatlands, flat areas of land. And every Tuesday, again, you're going to do this vocabulary game. Why? Because it would allow the students to use your open book, and it will allow that you already discussed the vocabulary on Monday. You guys read the story of the week on Monday. On Tuesday, they will be able to explore more of the vocabulary words using this matching game on their own. So again, pair 2, you add another one. Desert. And actually here, I can just copy. You add another pair. Canyons. Let me do the last one, volcano. And you put done. So now here you have the 5 vocabulary words with their definition, and you save it. Make sure you save it. So just like that, the matching vocabulary game is created. And once you're able to assign it on Google Classroom, well, this is when the kids will be able to play with the game, and they'll be able to do it on their own. And the cool part about it is that once they're actually playing, and if you notice, I'm sorry, I have the vocabulary, and the next screen is the matching pairs. It gives you that extension for Nearpod. So again, once they're playing, if they click 2 that are correct, it's going to go green on their screen. Obviously, give them like a correct. And if they click something that is wrong, there is going to show a red color. So it'll be showing like an error, like try again. So then here they will receive all the cards like this, and they'll create, okay, they'll click the land along the sea, and then they will look to match the vocabulary word. So then remember, let's pretend that I already had answered all my 26 slides. And then you'll be able to do all the slides. You'll be able to put whatever you want on Nearpod. So I'm going to do one more, which is a field trip. I always try to choose something that is related to the story of the week for the same reason, so it could catch the students' attentions. So what I do here is I click on the slide, And again, I want to add that Nearpod extension. So now I'm going to look for field trip, which is right here. So once you click on it, you'll be able to find any destination. So for example, here, since the story of the week was talking about landforms, I try to find a landform that we can discuss. It could be anything. I'm just gonna pick this right here. And you'll be able to preview. So what does that do is this allows the student to be able to move the screen, and they love field trips because they get to explore. Oh, Ms. Trejo, what is this? Look over here, the clouds. So they'll be able to move it. And then of course, if this is the one that you choose, you click done. Again, all the slides, once you add that Nearpod extension, it will duplicate the slide on the side, and it will give you that Nearpod blue line. So now here, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint because again, because of time purposes, I did not add all 26 slides here. But after field trip, I tend to add an essential question, which it could be an exit ticket. Which type of landform is most interesting to you and why? That was, for example, Monday. This is another one. After the field trip, turn to your partner and discuss what you observed during the field trip. What mental image did you create while exploring? So this is, again, very repetitive. Every Tuesday, you're going to have a field trip. You're going to switch the field trip according to the story of the week, something that they can make a connection, but you're always going to make sure that they're able to speak to their partner, create those mental images that we're still doing with Diana Ramirez graphic organizers, but in a more technology or techie way where they're able to explore things through their Chromebooks. So for example, this is Tuesday. What makes this text informational? Wednesday again, you start your lesson. Well, today is Wednesday again, boys and girls. Can somebody read the objective for me? Can somebody read the language objective for me? You discuss who remembers the genre of the story. I'm sorry. Choose a landform and research three things. Three interesting facts about the landform. Again, this is independent, but of course is very guided in the beginning because they need to explore and they need to understand how to use Nearpod. So if this was on Google Slides, what I would do is I would add the extension and I would put draw it. Why? So the kids are able to write here, they're able to write, and they're able to write inserting a text box. Now, time to climb is another extension on Nearpod. And what this is, it's a fun game that you're able to add questions. What is the genre of the story? It's kind of like Kahoot, but it's embedded on Nearpod, and it's called Time to Climb. Again, exit tickets. Every day there's an exit ticket. What text features can you identify in this text? Again, what's the extension here? Draw it. Why? So the students are able to write something here. Thursday, field trip. I discuss again, our anchor charts. What is a key idea and detail of the section titled What Shapes the Land? So again, a lot of the times the extensions on Nearpod is draw it. Why? Because I want the kids to be able to type. So a lot of the times what we used to do back in the day in our reading journal, we're doing it now on digital on Google Slides. Why? Of course, so the students also get better at typing and they're able to use their computer and they're better ways to understand all the concepts the computer has for them. So Thursday, and then their exit tickets, we were talking about the landforms, label the 7 continents on the map. By this time, we also discussed it. So for example, this would end our week with Nearpod activities. Of course, you're still reading the story of the week on the side. This does not take the place of the curriculum. What these are interactive activities that you're able to do while you also target the curriculum, while you also do fluency and everything else. So I'm going to go back to the presentation. Right here. So now let's pretend we were done, right? Now you're going to open nearpod.com and you're able to assign live or student pace. And what does that look like? Here it is. So on Nearpod, I have all, for example, here is that lesson that we are just talking about is right here. It's landforms. The Garden of Happiness, One Plastic Bag, Who Says Women Can Be Doctors. All my activities are on Nearpod. So for example, this one on landforms, you're able then to assign if you want it live or if you want it student pace. If you want it student pace, the student will be able to do it on their own. This is obviously, you can maybe do this maybe in second semester, March, April, May, when the kids are very familiar with Nearpod. Maybe you want to assign completely the slides for them and they'll be able to do them. But I like to do live. Why? Because you control the screen and you're able to say, okay, boys and girls, I'm going to give you 10 minutes, work on the next slide. But you switch it. And once the student finishes, they also have to wait for you. Student pace, they'll be on their own and they'll be able to explore. So let's pretend we want live participation. You click on it. I'm going to put launch a new one because I had worked on it with my students. So then here is where it gives you this pop-up. You can copy the link and you can just put it on the Google Classroom, and the kids, at the moment the kids click on it, they're going to ask to enter their name. You can put it straight to Google Classroom, but what I usually do is I just copy the link and then paste it on the Google Classroom. So once you do that, you have all your slides here. Again, the teacher is the one that controls them. And this is what I meant. You see, this is the Nearpod slide. So the kid is able to add text. And I always put the sentence start. The author wrote this selection. And the student will be able, this is, for example, what the students see. Once they finish, on their screen, there's going to be a button say submit, and then they go next. So you have all the activities. I think you'll be able to see, for example, this one again was draw it. So they insert the text. And then they type here. You go next. For example, this screen, well, they're not going to be allowed to do anything because obviously we did not assign a Nearpod extension. Vocabulary. You go over, they're not doing anything here. I'm going to go, for example, field trip. This is how they will see it. You see? And they'll be able to move it around, play with it. Next, I want to show you the matching game the way they see it. Again, this one, text, because they're able to type. This is also a text, if you notice, add text, because they were writing key ideas. And this is a vocabulary game. So, of course, I'm just going to click this one and this one, red. You see? Volcano, green. So again, the game does it by themselves. As long as you add that extension and you put the 5 vocabulary words, it will randomize it for everybody. So they'll be able to finish doing the matching of the vocabulary words. Again, this was another field trip where they were allowed to explore. And the reason why I add a lot of field trips is because this keeps the students engaged. And this is where, okay, after the field trip, turn to your partner and discuss what you observe. And you allow them 2-3 minutes to be able to talk back and forth. Exit ticket, of course, text. This text is informational because, and of course, the word bank is there. Information, facts, earth, rivers, lakes, ocean, coast, volcano, valley. Those are just words that we discussed during the week that can help them write their answer to this question. So this is the way the students will be able to see it. And then at any point, for example, obviously this is Monday, they have all the days at the bottom, right? On Wednesday, you'll be able to access, the kids will be able to access the same link on Google Classroom. They click on it and then they will work on wherever they left off. So you'll be able to assign all slides or all Nearpod on Monday, and there will be a completion at the end of the week. They'll be able to continue doing it until they finish all the activities. And let me just show you time to climb real quick. Of course, we didn't do it But if you add the extension time to climb and then you add the questions. I'm not sure if it's going to let me play since I'll be the only player. But it's a game. They're able to choose. Well, I'm the teacher on this one. Let me see if it's going to allow me. It might not allow me because if you notice, it says waiting for players, but the kids will be able to connect, choose their avatar, and then they'll be able to play the game, which again, that game was created on Google Slides where you just add, what is the genre of the story? A, poetry. B, informational text. C, drama. And they'll be able to click on the screen. Again, exit tickets. Very important for us to do those exit tickets. So now, again, this was step number 4. You open nearpod.com and you assign the live or the student pace. So I know, like I said, this was an intermediate course. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. To me, like I said, it works easier if you create everything on PowerPoint and then you're able to just change it every week. And let me show you what I do real quick. So I'm a second grade teacher. In the beginning, I hadn't, if you notice, for example, these were my slides in the beginning of the school year. If you notice, my file has 258 slides. And the reason I'm going to show you is so you can see that it's very repetitive. So these were the slides that I just showed you. All right, the introducing landforms. The previous to that story was the Garden of Happiness. And if you notice, it's the same concept. Title, author, objectives, genre, question on Monday, activity, anchor charts, vocabulary. It's the same concept. Before that, we had one plastic bag. So all I do is copy paste the same thing. What do? I change the background. I change the objective. I change the activity. Essential question, activity, the vocabulary. And it becomes very repetitive. But again, in the beginning, the students are gonna have a kind of a difficult time, to do it on their own. But since it's so repetitive, by second semester, they're gonna know what to do exactly, and they're gonna know that on Tuesdays they have those matching vocabulary games. So it's just, like I said, you might take the first time to create all this masterpiece, and after that, again, you just change everything else. You change the background, the story, the objective, the tics. So that is just something I wanted to show you. Same thing for the different stories. And I like to label my days, Mondays, Tuesdays. So that also keeps me organized to know exactly what I will be teaching that same day. And that's about it. So if anybody else has any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm going to be here to answer any questions. I can go ahead and share this presentation as well.
About how long did it take you
I'll
to
be honest
do
with
like
you, to create maybe the masterpiece takes me, I don't know, it took me maybe a couple hours, but then every week I finish my slides within a conference period. So in 45 minutes, I'm able to plan it real quick. Why? Because it's just getting a picture from Google, like landforms, changing the backgrounds, changing the information real quick. I use a textbook to get activities. I use the activities provided on the curriculum. It's just I put them in this cute little PowerPoint. But every week, you're going to notice that it's very repetitive. So it doesn't take too long. Again, to create the masterpiece, maybe that takes a little bit longer. And I'll be honest, I don't mind sharing this one with you guys, the one that has the 26 slides. Why? Because from here, you guys can take it and just change the stuff around. And here, like I said, you're able, this is just simple, like I inserted a a square, with white black outline, white, but it becomes where you can add little things and you're able to move it. And once again, you take that screenshot, the kid cannot play with it. Yes, it makes everything so much easier once you build the structure of it. Like I said, here you have all the way to Thursday. Why? Because on Fridays, that's when we test. Yes, I will definitely share. I'm going to share both. I'm going to share the presentation and I'm going to share the 26 slides. And again, and then afterwards, let me just show you real quick. You obviously, what you do for the next one is you simply like copy paste. So you can just duplicate and then move it all the way to the bottom. And then you'll be able to just change the background and change everything. Let me save this. Now, when you guys open it, once I share it, once you guys open it, it's going to change the fonts. You might see that it's not going to look as nice, but it's because I have in my computer fonts that are installed. So I'm able to play with these fonts. So again, when I share it and you open it on your computer, those fonts are going to change probably to Times New Roman, just because if you don't have those fonts, it's just going to give you the basic, but it will be the same structure. Let me see if I can share it right now here on the chat. It's right here. And thank you so much, everyone, for your attention. I will go ahead and add the survey as well, so you guys can do the survey at the end of the at 11:40. And I'm also going to share the slides. Oh, that's right here. For the ones that are still connected, the slides are really good too on PowerPoint. Let me show you. Because you can create anything. Where is it? I know I have it somewhere where I did we have a sustainability projects at the end of the school year. So I also used it to, for example, it's right here. I used it to introduce it to the students. And since they're very familiar with the same format, like it was very like good for them to accept it and be able to be familiar exactly with the Nearpod. So again, it was a sustainability project fair. I showed them a video. I showed them a few videos. I allowed them to reflect. Again, this is something that they see on an everyday basis during the class, so it's very easy for them to follow along. How can we take action? So they were able to brainstorm. And then, of course, we discussed more. Our class worked on climate action. So what was the goal? We talked about it. And again, all this was done so I could introduce a sustainability project. And again, if it was done, it was done in this format because students are very, very familiar with it. So you see climate action, what's the goal? And the next one they'll be able to type. So you add the text.
Trejo,
Yes, ma'am.
I downloaded your presentation, but it doesn't. It says I'm not allowed to edit. Don't have permission. It says.
Which one, the PowerPoint or the slides the ones that I just presented right now?
The PowerPoint.
I'm not sure. Let me see. Because that was just saved as a PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. What have you downloaded first? Because that's just a PowerPoint. I don't think there's rights that I give on the PowerPoint.
I did. I downloaded it, and then it said after I wanted to save it as a file, and it said you don't have permission to edit.
Can somebody else try opening it to see if it works?
Because I'm able to open it and everything, but it just doesn't give me the permission to.
Again, I don't think there's anything that I can do on PowerPoint. That might be maybe your computer. Let me see. I had to download as a copy, then it let me.
As a copy, okay.
It works for me. Yeah, because I believe on PowerPoint I can't give rights to edit or anything like that.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. And all your Nearpods will be saved as well here for. And then as a teacher, you'll also be able to see the students' responses. So once they're working on it, you have a screen where you'll be able to see their response. You can read what they put. You can make anything there. So it'll just come out as there. So again, I'll be here more minutes in case anybody else has any questions or you want me to share anything with you. Let me know. And again, thank you so much.
Miss, what was the name of your session?
Creating Nearpods using PowerPoint.
Thank you.
I want to answer the question. Is when you see Nearpod with pre-K4, is there anything you would recommend? I would definitely recommend the live pace. The teacher is the one that creates that controls the Nearpod slides. So that way, you're able to control it. And if not, the students are just going to be obviously clicking on it. And then with Nearpod, I will create more drag and drop. The drag and drop, I hardly use it, but it's very neat because if it's for example, it could be even matching colors or match the color to the fruit. You're able to add a picture of a orange and then the color orange. And the students are able to drag and drop to match. So those are activities that pre-K4 and the lower grades are definitely being able to use. Field trips as well, because why? Because they're very interactive. So I will create more hands-on, obviously more interactive Nearpods than the right ones, because obviously that one is a bit more hard. I also believe there's a collaborative board on one of the extensions, and the student is able, for example, in their case, they're pre-K4, they can't write yet or type, but they're able to record a response. So if you show them since they're little, they're able to click on the mic and then they can say the orange is orange, or for example, it's just, but they're able to record the response as well. So that also allows them to be speaking and speaking in complete sentences and speaking and recording their responses. So I will definitely use that for pre-K4. Again, I haven't used all the Nearpod extensions, but I have done time to climb, field trips, the matching, the drag and drop, the write it, the inserting of the video. A lot of the times, we want to show the kids a video where you're able to insert it too on your slides, and that way you have everything in one file.
Have you used both forms, like you said, live and then student?
Yes, I have. I do live for sure first semester. First semester, I'm always the one controlling it. And then towards March, April, I allow them to do, for example, Thursday. Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and work with a partner, and you're gonna be working on the activities. But it's more once they're very familiar with the slides, and I know that they'll be able to do it on their own. And Miss Martinez is a first grade teacher at Palacios Elementary. And she also for the little ones, the matching, they can match the picture to the initial sound or uppercase to lowercase. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the matching. At first, I was a little bit hesitant on Nearpod, but it's just impressive how the students are very receptive to it, and you'll be surprised on everything they can actually do on their own using Nearpod.